Hello, hello. I'm currently updating sock command right now. Oh, that's really loud. There we go. That should be a lot better. Sorry. I didn't restart my computer last night. That means so it didn't reset the audio settings. Yeah, doing important things right now. updating the sock command. Although they're more like slippers. Copy image address. There we go. Nightmare Before Christmas. How do you spell Jack Skellington? Is it one or two L's? These are the important questions. I think it's just one L. No, I'm wrong. It is actually two. I guess that makes sense. Why would it be spelled like skeleton? That would make yeah, that would be too easy. Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, there we go. Okay. Good. We can proceed. Oh wait, never mind. I left my space heater off. We can almost proceed. But I am cold. Very, very cold. Which I think is gonna be something I say for the next... When does it stop being cold? April, almost? Barely? I'd say April, maybe May. I'll be cold for quite a while. But yeah, I need to be better about keeping the space heater on, because it's... When it's this cold, I start to get a cough and get sick, which isn't good. Okay. We are finishing up... What are we working on today for the Any Person design? Fine-tuning the ships, mostly, I think, is the goal today. Okay, I posted in the Discord, updated the socks commands. We have everything important has been crossed off. So, we worked on a design. They kind of have shapes, which I like. That's about it. Now, they are slower because of said shapes, but that's fine. Oh, right. We need to send carbon down from the space stations. So to do that, what I think we want to do... We want to minimize how much goes in our actual station on Novice, right? So that would be... This guy, we would request carbon like 1,000, probably. That's one stack, so that's a good goal. So that will just slowly take stuff from the space stations. It's going to be somewhat prioritized over space science, but not... It shouldn't slow down space science too long, and if it does, it's not the end of the world. Is that 20 stacks? Jeez. But yeah, this is the lazy way to do it. We can also request less than a full rocket, which is also perfectly acceptable, because we actually only need 200. And we should request less than a full rocket, because this could I imagine this could stall. This would stall science for a lot if we win that many. 250 isn't going to make a big difference. 400 though, or yeah, 4 times that. Not 400. 4 times that would definitely matter though. Okay, so we don't recycle barrels. Is there water nearby? There really isn't. It looks like if we want to recycle barrels, our best bet is over here. Actually, wait, we're not doing anything with this science, right? Let's see, where are our labs? Okay, never mind. All of our science is over here. It would be weird to produce labs over here. Because I was thinking if we put the labs over here, we can put the space science over there. Because we have like 5 belts to connect, or 6 belts to connect from this one. I don't remember what the number is. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 belts. We have 5 belts to connect from this. And if we do it over here, and keep the cargo bay over here, it gets very complicated. We could do the cargo bay over here and do the labs over here, which is very nice for getting barrel processing. Honestly, I should just do barrel processing here, though I don't think it would be that hard. Hello, bye, welcome, welcome. But yeah, I think we just need to eventually ship barrels down to here. I think we can do that on the fly if we want, because realistically, we probably don't need it. I don't think we'll be consuming that many barrels, but it is something we have to think about. And then we were having trouble getting the starter one ship to go as consistently as we need it. And part of that was a lack of carbon. So something here is wrong because these are not being filtered for anything, but this can't run. So something here is broken. Okay, well that's an easy fix. Is it broken on that one? Okay, so it's only broken on this one. Okay, so maybe things are fine. This does not go faster. Oh, because it's thrust. Right, because it's fuel limited. It doesn't go faster than it used to, but it should be more consistent because I think it's going the same speed for less fuel, or at least that's what I'm hoping. I haven't actually tested, but I'm assuming because there's two thrusters, it's a little better. Okay, it looks like we are very heavily carbon limited all the time though, which is not great. See, these aren't using the calcite production, that's fine. Calcite, ooh, actually, we need to limit calcite production. I think that's what bricked it, right? Oh, that's what bricked it. Because these can output. Interesting, okay. I kind of thought the calcite would be rare enough that it wouldn't matter. But it seems to not be the case. Okay, so what we can do is we can disable this. We can read from the same belt. Actually, we can just read from a different belt. Read content. Disable if calcite. Probably less than like 50. We can keep a decent amount on it, but if we do like 70 or something, that should be fine. Okay. It is not fine. Okay, now it's fine. Yeah, we just need to make sure we don't saturate the entire outer belt, because the only thing that goes in the outer belt is chunks and calcite, and the chunks are going to be prioritized, so we'll only ever have like 2 or 3 on that side. But calcite, if we put 100 on it, we just, as we can see, break the belt. This seems to be running pretty safely, though. I'm happy with that. A kilo and beyond is good. Our little penguin thingy, or Fall Guys, whatever we want to call it. Also, I don't know if I responded, but beep beep. Hello, bye-bye, welcome, welcome. What were we missing? Are we just mostly done? I guess I was planning to run this weekend, so it makes sense that we wouldn't really have anything left that we had to do, strictly speaking. Because the plan was to run tomorrow until I realized we had some family stuff and I was not able to. Yeah, so can't do an 8-hour stream with that. Or what I hope will be an 8-hour stream. I don't know. There's always a possibility it'll be like 6, but that's incredibly unlikely without any practice. I did say hi. Okay, wasn't sure. Also, I know I mirrored this compared to the old design, and I don't know why, but it trips me up. Even though functionally it's the exact same, doesn't really make a difference. Is the belt thingy? What about the belt thingy? Oh wait, I should probably copy this. Calcite is less than 70. Oh, the belt thingy makes it asymmetrical? No, it's not the asymmetry that's a problem. It's the fact that I've mirrored it. When I was working on it, the cargo bay was on the right. So it's not the asymmetry. It's just not how I remember that side looking. Although, are the wings actually asymmetrical? I can't tell. No. No, they just have different stuff on it, but the platform's the same. So that's the important thing. But yeah, it was mostly just that the cargo bays used to be on this side, but because you can't flip the thrusters, I realized the easier design was to do liquid stuff on the left, or whatever you want to call this. It's not liquid stuff because both of them are liquid. The blue stuff on the left is what I had to switch to eventually. But yeah, this is our rocket goal. We might need more storage than this. I'm not sure. I know we only need about 300 railgun ammo. And we need a lot less rockets. I could probably do 1,500 rockets. 300 railgun ammo. That saves... That actually saves a lot of stacks. Flip the thrusters to be on the front, not on the back. Make it that we can only go backwards. It is a shame that we can't you can't move these around and have your ship go a different direction, because like functionally it wouldn't really change much. Although they would have to change how asteroid spawns works based on the direction the thrusters are, but you know, that seems doable. Oh, these are outside of oh, those are just remainders from earlier. Okay. Looks like we have completely exhausted our ore patches here, which makes sense because this has just been running uncapped for quite a while. Just voiding everything. Yep, that makes sense. We don't have a chest for concrete, I realize. Yeah, we do not have a chest for concrete. Whoops. Not like it's really a bad thing. We don't get that much concrete, I don't think. Okay, never mind. We get a lot of concrete. It definitely has a pretty significant effect on the deconstruction time. You can turn it into hazard concrete first and then crush it, which is always an option. It's something I might do. Depends how fast this fills up. It looks like pretty fast. Yeah, I should probably do the I don't know. I mean, it works fine, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think so. Also, apparently there's an update that reprioritized these, so that way it stacks better when it does like the stack outputs. I'm assuming what that means is that it is now sorted based on production speed. Yeah, that makes sense. So like the things with the higher odds are now first. The things with the lowest odds are last, so that way it can do the stacks of 4 a lot more consistently. Which is kind of cool. I can't think of what the sorting was before. Like, it's obviously different if they made a note of that, but I don't know. I don't know what they used to be. Is there anything critical we're missing on Novice? Did we do poison? We did do poison capsules, okay. We just kind of threw them wherever. Cool, that makes sense. Okay, so we did poison capsules. We need to practice this. Have I decided which planet to go first? Yeah, Fulgora. Fulgora is first. That's why we redesigned it to not use heat towers. Oh, I forgot this is how our power looked. I love this. It's fantastic. But yeah, we're doing Fulgora first. It's the only one that really makes sense to do first, I think. Because the thing is, like, you can't really scale up Fulgora that much. There's nothing you can bring to Fulgora that I think helps a ton, when you could just have a smaller Fulgora run for longer. At least that's my thinking. Because, like, you can do a larger Fulgora and do it later. But the problem is, it's really hard to do large. Everything is just so spread out that getting, like, 2 science per second, like, which is what I would need if I did it last, is not that feasible. Okay, I'm going for that one first, then we can just buffer the science. We don't have to spend it, although I could spend it if I really wanted to, but we just buffer the science, then we go to Gleba, which is really easy. We're doing about 2 science per second here because it's our second planet. I think that'll be enough. Now, it does keep dying in our tests, but that's fine. It's not... It's not likely to spoil. I think it's incredibly unlikely to spoil, actually. I don't think it'll have to be a concern. We can always add a chest if we really want to. But the only reason this stuff spoiled is because it's been running for 3 in-game days. Fulgora is really weird, especially with the giant islands, but at least Lube is quick to make. That's true, which is super useful, right? Is there anything it's useful for? I guess if I wanted to make engines locally, but honestly, there's no reason for me to produce local parts for local rocket parts, I think, on most planets. Because, like, if I'm shipping engines for the silo, actually, what if I just craft the silo in the main spaceship and just always keep one silo? That would be a lot nicer in terms of assembler utilization or storage utilization. It would be, if we do that, it means we're never going to craft any concrete locally, but it also frees up a very significant portion of inventory space. You can't ship silos, but you can keep them in space and drop them down. Unless they change that. But you can craft them in space. So when I say ship the silo, I mean ship the parts, craft it, and then ship it afterwards. We'll check to make sure that is something that's still possible. Should we test it out of editor mode? We should test it out of editor mode. Because some things you can do in editor mode that you can't actually do in a real run. Silo. Okay, I mean, it would have screamed at us if we couldn't build it here. So yeah, we should just be able to craft that now. I wonder if there's any way to do... I don't think it's possible. Yeah, because the recipe is more than one stack, you can't actually use ghost building to do it. So I would have to use an inserter, which would probably mean I have to make this guy's shoulder a little bit wider, which is not inherently a problem. Okay. That gives us a space for an assembler, and then we can do probably 2 bulk inserters, maybe. Actually, we don't even need an output, actually. We can just do a full input. So if I do it this way, we now only have to make the request, let's see, 1 stack of concrete. Not concrete, that doesn't sound right. 1 stack of concrete. 1 stack of engines, I think. Actually, no, we need engines on... Which planet is it? Vulcanus, I think? Yeah, Vulcanus is the one that needs engines for the foundries or for the drills. I don't remember which. Okay, let's see. That uses 10 engines. Okay, so we need 10 engines. Per drill, we have 10 drills, so that's 100 engines. Okay, so we need 100 engines minus 3 stacks, which that's fine. We'll do 200 then. And then... Why does that say not enough to fill a rocket? Would it be faster to ship it from Fulgora or Novice? No, nothing would be faster to ship from Fulgora or any other planet. Because you gotta remember, we're doing a very small Fulgora. It doesn't have the rocket fuel, or it has the LDS and processing units just fine. It doesn't have the spare rocket fuel to be able to ship out of it. And if it can't make all of its parts locally, I don't think it's worth using it to ship anything other than required resources. Like, obviously I have to ship the science off, but it wouldn't make any sense for me to ship rocket parts to Fulgora just to ship a rocket part back out of Fulgora. The one exception would be maybe if I just sent engines and then crafted them into electric engines when I reached Fulgora. That's possibly worth it, but considering this is only 1 rocket, I don't think it's a problem. Yeah, that should be fine. I really don't know why these aren't being built, but we'll just ignore that. Steel is already being sent up. Processing units. Yeah, we need to see what's going on in Novice. It's clearly having some problems if it doesn't think there's enough to fill a rocket. They might not be set to automatic. That's probably the case. And then pipe. Now this is the lazy way to do it, but let's just ship a pipe. I don't really see much reason not to. Yeah, that should be totally okay. Okay. Oh, I see the problem. We haven't done the... Yeah, okay, that makes sense. This is rocket filling testing. We can delete that now. We don't need it. Oh, we're not in editor mode. That explains why we weren't able to do some things. Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. That also explains why the map there wasn't any way to not zoom it out. Okay, cool. Glad we figured that out. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I think the space age run from just what I've like seen so far with like making other bases, it doesn't seem like it would be... There's not a lot of other space stuff. I think maybe with like even with 100%, I think it's hard to justify making stuff on another planet. Default settings might be the only one where you're like actually considering producing something not on Novice. But it's so easy to expand Novice on any % settings when you can just paste like another module next to it, and that's so much faster than setting up more efficient processing on like Volcanus to ship elsewhere. Because, you know, setting up a whole new design is going to take a few minutes. Just copying and pasting something is going to take a lot less. And at that point, who cares if you're wasting, what would it be, like 50% resources because you don't get the productivity? That should be fine. Yeah, we only need 100, so it's okay if those back up. I'm looking for something, but I don't remember what. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's just because we don't have the robo network. And then we also need low density structure. Now, the way that we're doing the low density structure and processing units, we are delivering them between every planet. I have it typed out somewhere. It is in a blueprint. I'm pretty sure, oh gosh. I'm fairly certain that I put everything I needed inside the description of a blueprint, which I'm realizing now is was a terrible idea. Because I have no idea where it would be under. Huh. Yeah. That is an issue. Why did I type it there? What blueprint could it possibly be under? Did I name it? Maybe I named it. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Also, I don't know if I haven't shown this off much. If you want to do an entire stacked green belt of steel out of only stone furnaces, this is what the lane looks like. I know you're able to make out a lot of details here, so it's very... This definitely makes it clear what's happening. But yeah, it's just an iron lane with a bunch of different side loads, and then it produces an entire stacked belt of steel. And I think it's 8,000 tiles wide. Oh, no, this is double stacked. Okay, so this is 2 halves. If only we'd figured that out from the picture. But yeah, this is 4,000 tiles wide, roughly. I think that's my end goal for the casual space age playthrough. Just because it's very silly and very inefficient. Also, it requires... I think you have to use rocket fuel or higher. Solid fuel, or you have to supplement fuel later. But just solid fuel, I don't think has enough. Maybe stacked solid fuel has enough throughput. Where would this blueprint be? Would it be under game blueprints? Wouldn't I have named it? I feel like I would have named it if it was this important. But I'm starting to doubt that immediately. Yeah, am I just... Okay, you know what? Let's just... let's just go to the other planets. That would be easier. Okay, so for every rocket we need off of this, we need to bring in... I don't know. Should I just bring in LDS? Like, I think it's clever to produce... I think it's clever to produce plastic here. I don't think it's helpful. Or sorry, I think it's clever to produce LDS here and have to bring plastic instead, but I don't know if it helps me, because this is the only thing I need plastic for. So this means I would be putting plastic on my ship once just to use for one delivery here and then never using it again, and I don't think that's worth it. How much LDS do you need? You need about, with prod modules, I think it's about 45 for launch. So this does pack, let's see. Now this produces 400 LDS, no, 600 LDS out of one rocket worth of plastic. Or I could just ship 3 rockets and not have to worry about it. That's just so much simpler. I don't know, what should I do? Should I go with the more creative solution here just because it's fun? I think the time difference isn't that big. Going with this one is a little more interesting, so maybe we just do that, because I do like this design a lot. I really do. I wonder if I can stagger it, because like I'm looking at it now, and this alignment is awkward with the pipes, but I think if we shift it over, we have a very reasonable alignment, which I like. Because we can take this, and now we can shift this here. It still, I think, works the exact same way. Okay, let's shift this over first, actually. But yeah, having those, yeah, that's fine. I don't think it functionally makes a difference, but having this pipe be in line with each other seems very useful for base alignment. Don't think that'll be an issue for a while, because we'll change this base a lot before I care about that, but it is something that's fun to consider. Do not know how we ran out of power here. Oh wait, we're supposed to start with solar panels, that's why. We don't need a ton though. I think, I don't know, how many solar panels should I start with? 10? 10's probably okay. That's just enough to get us a little bit of acid and then everything works. Oh, that's why the power shut down. Yeah, that the acid is why the power shut down. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I don't know how that actually... I don't know how that worked. I don't know how we cut that so weirdly. Did we fix everything we broke? I think we did. We only shifted the bottom. So yeah, now this pipe is aligned, and it looks a lot cleaner. And I don't know if it's harder to mess up or not, but it looks cleaner, and that's nice. Okay, so before we go to this planet, we just need to get all of the plastic we can ship in, and then everything's good. And then this is all the stuff we need to build. I think we'll have to move... It would make more sense for us to move this to, like, external spreadsheet. Because we'll probably... I think let's see, we'll be doing the no inventory run on Monday. Actually, should I just make the spreadsheet now? Maybe I should make the spreadsheet now. Let's see, where do I need to go? Edge. Okay. Yeah, I can work on the... I should probably work on the spreadsheet now by hand, I think. Or not by hand, but I should work on the spreadsheet. Because I think our designs are solid. Now we just need to make a list of what we need to bring to each planet, basically, so we don't mess up. I wonder if there's any way I can get this to... I guess if we added a gap, but that probably wouldn't be worth it. And then it would not break. Yeah, okay. Nah, two assemblers here is not a problem at all. It's not something to worry about. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this design. Especially since, let's see, I have to hand make one, and then I use foundries. So 4 foundries would give me 6 foundries. Okay, so we actually have to craft 1 entire extra foundry because of this. That's still fine, but it's a little less fine. Anyway, we're shipping in processing units. We're not shipping in rocket fuel. We're shipping in just the processing units. This needs 45 per launch. This produces 2 science per second, which means it might have up to 2 rockets at a time. So that means we need about 90 processing units from here. Gleba needs LDS and rockets. Well, again, we'll assume up to 2 rockets at a time, I think is reasonable. So we'll say that's 90 LDS, 90 processing units. So that's 180 processing units, 90 LDS total. This doesn't require any shipments at all. So that's actually, those are the only 2 numbers we need. So 180 processing units circled around, and then 90 LDS. Obviously, we'll make that a little bit higher, so that way we have some wiggle room. But that is our minimum threshold. So if we go to starter 1, we'll add a section. So this stuff is just for shipping around. So we got processing units. We need 200. Actually, what's an entire rocket of these? 300? Let's just do 300 then. Let's always try to keep 1 full rocket. And then low density structure, we only needed 100. That says what? No, that doesn't make a sound. What am I thinking? Okay, so we'll try to keep 1 rocket of each. And then we'll also request 2,000 of each science? I don't know, that's tricky. Let's do 1. I just realized an issue with all requests filled. Yeah, if we do all request filled, it's never going to request. It can do 1 or 2, but it will have to wait for the 2. So we either need to not do all requests filled. I guess all requests, you know what, all requests satisfied, that only matters for novice where we get ammo. I don't think it matters on the other planets. So I think we can just request a bunch of 9s, right? Or we just add a bunch of 0s. And then we do electromagnetic science. And then we do cryogenic science. And then we just don't do request filled. So now the wait condition is going to be time passed, maybe? Should I just wait like an artificial 30 seconds? That seems reasonable, right? So that gives us enough time to request a rocket if there is a rocket, and then a second rocket if there is another rocket. And that's easy logic to set up. It's designed to keep moving continuously, so idling should never have a downside. If anything, it just gives us time to gather resources and refill the belt again. I know there's a way. Does anybody know? There's a way to use the internal inventory here, right? I guess that doesn't matter much. Yeah, I guess that doesn't matter a ton. Like, you can fill the inventory and you can read it, include that in the logic for what it needs to collect. But I think it's like a weird... I think it's tricky to set up, so maybe I don't worry about it this time. Until I start to actually care about some time saves. Also, we're down to 6 assemblers right now, or 6 solar panels right now, which I don't love. I think that's technically enough, but we definitely lost one to do this assembler here for the silo. Okay, so processing units, LDS, we don't need rocket fuel for this one. Rocket fuel will be shipped to a kilo, but that's a whole separate one. Good luck on the bad ship designs. Yeah, thank you. I like how it looks, at least. That counts for something for speedrunning, right? Like, we got a little stick person in a dress. There's their little legs. There's their arms. And we got a little hat. Or, like, hair. I don't know. The turrets kind of look like some kind of hair. And then we also have this guy, which someone described as a minion in a suit. MC Hammer Pants. Just, like, super baggy pants. I see it. No, I see that too. That's very... That works. Yeah, no, that's perfect. That also kind of applies to this one, but not so much. But yeah, this one, it definitely has that bagginess. But yeah, it's a fun design. That's what matters in speedruns more than anything. How interesting is your design, not how effective it is. Just wait until Burner Hundo when we start making like a flying walrus or butterfly or something. Maybe a mosquito. Actually, I don't like mosquitoes. No, why would I do mosquitoes? Okay, so how should I do the crafting list? What's the easiest way? Or I guess not what's the easiest. What's the laziest way that I can set it up? Oh, you know what I can do? So instead of doing a spreadsheet, I can just have a screenshot of what all of my circuit requests would look like. No, that's a good way to do it. And then we can label them. So this is going to be science transporting. This one doesn't transport cryo. That doesn't matter. I like how these all have different numbers over what number on my keyboard felt easier to press at that time. Okay, this is for silo stuff. I think it would be good for me to have a request of 100 here as well. This is the stuff that just goes into producing the, what's it called? The silo. I guess I for some reason I was thinking the word would be different, but it's not. Okay, this is requesting, we want to keep 2 rockets full of iron plates. That's reasonable. I feel like water barrels, I can make the request a little bit lower. Because I don't know. Actually, let's find out. Let's remove all water from this. And then let's see how much the round trip takes. So this is producing sustainably producing just using regular bauxite chunks. That should be fine. Okay. That's reprocessing. That's not correct. Okay, but I want to see... That's also reprocessing. Which one's correct? Okay, there we go. There's crushing. But yeah, the round trip... As long as it only takes like 10,000 water, it really doesn't matter if we have spare water barrels. Okay, now it waits for 30 seconds. It actually got a delivery. I was not expecting that. That's cool. And then it stops by Gleba, which is not going to get a delivery because everything's spoiled. And we have consumed no net amount of water, so we are actually producing enough water, like, as we fly. So the barrels are just kind of as a backup. So if they're just as a backup, we can definitely request only 10 of them, and that should be good. Because if we request 100, you run into a situation where you might have 199 water barrels on your rocket at any point in time. If you request 1 water barrel or 10 water barrels, your limit is going to be 101 or 110, which is like 9 free slots. 9 slots freed up, so that's pretty significant. Okay, so yeah, we don't have any problem sustainably flying ever since we switched to... I'm assuming the difference is that we switched to waiting a little bit to get initial fuel and then sending our rocket. So that's really the biggest difference we had. But yeah, that seems fine. If that's the case, let's bring this down to 1. Iron plates. I think iron plates are actually not that helpful. The reason that I want these is because I can bring them to other planets, which is kind of helpful. But honestly, I don't think crafting stuff on the fly is something we're going to worry about this time. Because it's so much easier to just set up a request and wait a little bit. Because we have... I think we can launch 4 rockets a minute on Novice. Don't remember exactly, but I want to say 3 to 4. Firearm magazines, we definitely don't use 1,000 round trips, so this is more than enough. Let's try to keep 200 iron. I muted. Whoops. Okay. I coughed, but forgot to unmute it, I guess. Okay, so to idle on this planet, we have access to 432 kilowatts. Right? No. We have 120. Okay, that's actually very little. We only have 120 kilowatts on this planet. Okay. So that means the crushers, having them take half would actually be pretty significant. But it's also, we only stay here for 30 seconds. So as long as we have this many accumulators, I think it's fine. Yeah, okay. So if we're doing this many accumulators, I think we can make do without the better efficiency. So that seems worth it. So that bumps up this by another 6. That puts it at 24. And then we have... Do we have any bulk inserters? So if we have bulk inserters, I feel like I should just be shipping up regular inserters too. Actually, no. We need all of them for other planets. And we need 13 of these. Gun turrets we have as 8 for some reason. I don't know why, but we do have these at 8. I think that's excessive. We can probably make do with 6, but I do like the safety net that we have built in. And then we need a little bit of underground pipe. Then we need the cargo bays. But yeah, this is important to making sure we have an idea of how much we need throughout the run. So we do have to have these numbers written down somewhere, since we're not allowed blueprint imports. I guess I don't have that listed in the command because I just kind of that's just kind of assumed. But anyone who doesn't know the speedrun, how any percent works in Factorio, would probably assume that blueprints are allowed. But yeah, that's why we have to manually type these things out. Instead of just, copying and pasting the whole thing, we have to basically make ourselves a list that we can reference later. And then I don't think we're going to worry about phasing the ship. I think we just ship up everything, and then maybe if we're feeling fancy or like we have nothing else to do, we can fill the silos perfectly. Strictly speaking, we don't have to, though. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. We have 2 constant combinators. Is there any way to... Is one of those unnecessary? I think one of them is just a list. Shipment of carbon from novice. Okay, yeah, that's just saying, hey, you need to get carbon fiber 1 time. So we'll put that here. Actually, we can... Yeah, let's put that here. We'll do... custom minimum 250, 250. We don't need a maximum, actually. We just need custom payload of 250. Okay. Maybe we should do a little extra so we have like a backup railgun. That could be useful. Although a backup railgun genuinely adds like a couple minutes of production, but I don't think that matters too much. But it could be worth it. Actually, no. This does have enough wiggle room for an extra railgun, so we should be good. We just have to not overproduce rocket turrets, and then we're fine. Landing pad? Wait. Oh, that's not a landing pad. That's the cargo bay. And then we need all the combinators for some reason. Or no, wait. We don't need a selector combinator. That's different. Okay, but if we set up all of this, this also gives us stuff we can send to the other planet. Now the real question. Do I want to use this personal assembler? Because the thing is, this only has to make 1 silo and then we forget about it, right? So we have a couple options here, and one of those options... Wait, why do I need a pump? Apparently I need a pump. One of those options is shipping up raw components like red chips, green chips, gears, and that gives us a lot more flexibility in terms of if we can use like speed 2, it gives us some flexibility to produce like speed 1s or speed efficiency 1s up here if we really want to save rocket launches. And more importantly, if we just end up gears and red chips, that gives us the possibility to make bulk inserters on the ship, and then we never have to make them on novice, because they're not actually used on novice at all, I don't think. Yeah, we don't use bulk inserters at all. We barely even use blue inserters at all on this planet. So we do have the very real possibility of shipping up 1 shipment of red chips instead, 1 shipment of gears, or just making a few gears locally using the iron that we ship up before we switch over to a silo assembler. Because I think we only need a total of like 50 bulk inserters, so that's what I'm thinking we'll do. Especially since, honestly, those don't have to be bulk inserters if they're just for the silo. I really don't think those have to be bulk inserters. Because that gives us more time to work on the bulk inserters, which is nice. So this is for building the ship. Okay, yeah. So if we remove the bulk inserters from that design, I think that simplifies things a lot. If we idle too much... Wait, what planet are we on? Oh, we're not above novice. I thought we were idled above novice. I was wondering how we ran out of ammo there. That shouldn't have been possible. Okay, so that's one advantage. Actually, that's a pretty big advantage of trying to keep more iron. Although we can also just bring repair packs, and then everything's fine. That's probably better. What's the rocket capacity of those? 100? Perfect. Okay, now we can pause. We can pause here. But yeah, it's never supposed to idle above a planet for that long, so I don't think that'll be a problem in an actual run. But yeah, that is a list of everything we need for this first ship. 500. So that is that is 15. No, not 15. 11. That's 11 rockets to get all the space platform up. Of course, this is the only ship we'll need for a while, so it's not awful. But because this is going to be our like personal transport ship. Also, let's just give it some repair packs and let it build, and everything should be okay. But yeah, this is our personal transport ship until we head to a kilo. So this will be transporting us and the science around. Hopefully, I don't know if its capacity is high enough. We did expand it significantly though, so that probably helps. We also need to definitely be dropping stuff down onto Novice if we want to be stress testing this. So let's filter this to all of the sciences and we will just void them. And then cryoscience. Okay, that should be fine. And then we want to request, I don't know, 2,000 of each science. Seems reasonable. I mean, in the actual run, they're going to go into a chest, so it doesn't matter how much we request because they're going to be buffered in a chest, and it's just not going to be possible for us to produce so much of it that we need to worry about it. Because like 2 chests is like 3 hours of production or something. Let's see, we produce 2 science per second, right? So that's 7,000 per hour. So yeah, 20,000 would be 3. So if we somehow produced science on Volcanus unchecked for 3 hours, I think we've already exhausted how much we need to use this ship for. So yeah, we should be fine. Okay, so starter 1 is good. This is silo. I don't like that sorting actually. I think we should have defenses. Or no, let's do travel, because this is a sorting list. This is basically my crafting queue saying what we need to travel around. Now then we do barrels, we drop it down to 1. Ammo, we drop. I think 1,000 ammo is good. It's definitely, I don't know, it feels like a bit overkill, but it definitely depends what researches we have. But yeah, this is enough for travel, and then this is everything we need for silo production. So I kind of want to shift everything over a bit, but that's a little bit more annoying than I thought it would be. And then processing it. So this is just everything we need for a silo. So that can start crafting for us, which is nice. So we can just call this silos crafting idling. But yeah, if we just send all of this stuff, we can basically just turn this off later and then we're good. Because we only need a grand total of 4 silos? Yeah, we just need a total of 4 silos. So I think that can just kind of start shipping while we work on other things. It might be a good idea for... The more I look at it, the more I think it might be a good idea to do the bulk inserters. Although, these move like... All of these combined are going to move 3 times 3 times 2. So 6 times... Wait, no, hold on. 3 each, and there's 3 of them, and they move 2 at a time. So 3 times 3 times 6. So that's what, 18 items per second? So that is 1,000 items per minute. So it would produce, it would only take like 2 or 3 minutes for it to fill the silo assembler. That's actually not too bad, because we have other stuff to build while it's doing that, so it shouldn't be a problem. Because if we just do this section first, we get the silo crafting, it can just start buffering it while we build out the rest of it. Because this is a very easy thing to just kind of throw down and get working. And then it can just start crafting all the silos. And then probably by the time we're ready to leave the planet, we should have all of the silos crafted. And then we can remove this logic, and then everything should be good. Science transporting, yeah, that one's important. One-time deliveries. one-time deliveries. And then we have 2,000 plastic that we need. Which I still don't... Is that enough? So this is 10 stacks of plastic, I think. Yeah, so we request 2,000 plastic. We send it over to the other planet. And that's going to produce 600 LDS, which is about 12 launches. We don't actually need anything... Actually, no, that's... Okay, so that's 12 launches. We need 11 launches from Volcanus, though. Right? Wait. Science is 1,000 per rocket. Is it 7,000 science? I want to say we need 7,000 of each science, but I think that's very wrong. But that could be correct. I haven't actually done the math in a while. Let's see. Railgun. So that's 2,000 for the railgun. 2,500. 4,500. We don't need that. 6,500. And then the research for a kilo. Which I have no idea where the heck that is. So that's 9,500. So that looks like about 10,000 divided by 2 divided by 1.4. Gives us 3,500. Is that right? Do I only need do I need less than 4,000 science from each planet? That has to be right, right? Like that's so little. But biolabs are very powerful, especially biolabs with prod modules in them that give it a 40% crafting or research boost. Is that really right? That sounds so wrong. Like, that sounds so stupidly cheap. I mean, I guess everything feels stupidly cheap. I mean, look at Gleba. This is the entire Gleba aside from, like, one belt chain going that direction. And then Volcanus just looks like this. But Gleba looks so tiny. But yeah, if that's the case, we only need about 4 launches for science. So we need to be careful to not request too much science. Which is actually a problem. So we'll have to be on top of that. Because if we're only sending 1 shipment of plastic... Yeah, if we only send 1 shipment of plastic, that means we only have 1 chance to get all the rockets launched. So what we could do is we could request the titanium or whatever this is, tungsten stuff first, because we need 600 tungsten, I think 300 tungsten, or like 200 tungsten. And then it looks like we need 500 carbide, something like that. 500 carbide, 300 plates. So the idea here is that we do 10 launches for science and then 2 for those. That's pushing it. But I think we can regulate that. What if we just limit how much goes on the rocket? Would that be a good option? Because if I only request up to 4,000 on the rocket, we're not going to accidentally send too many, so maybe it's fine. But we only need to produce science for like 20 minutes, I think, because this is 2 science per second. We need 4,000. So it's actually close to 30 minutes, but 30 minutes of science production. That gives us a 30-minute window to not overproduce. That's actually fine. Now that gives us like, well, actually no, it almost gives us a full hour to not overproduce. Worst case scenario, we just drop down the LDS that we have on the ship anyway. So we have a backup plan. But on the other hand, it just doesn't seem worth it. But I think we'll stick with our original solution for now. Okay, so this is one-time deliveries. Is there anything else? I don't think so. So now we need... Okay, so Fulgora is going to be the hardest because we actually have to produce a lot of stuff there locally. Gleba, very easy to get an item count on. Volcanus also is very easy to get an item count on. A kilo is going to be tricky. A kilo is definitely tricky. Yeah, this is all the stuff... This is basically a crafting list right now. Or not a crafting list, but a bringing list. Let's do the easy one first. Okay, so Gleba needs... there's no reason for us to ever use a yellow inserter on this planet. So let's get rid of those. And then where else can they go? But yeah, if we only bring yellow... There's just no reason for us to bring yellow inserters and blue inserters. It just simplifies things a lot if you use only one color. We could even use exclusively blue or bulk inserters, but that might be a problem because they're kind of expensive. Well, actually, no, they're not expensive, but they move a lot of items. And if I do bulk inserters, it might move too many items at a time. So that's one concern I have, which would could increase the latency of the egg cracking, which I don't love. It looks like we want this to be over here. So how far is this? Also, why do we have it sped up? Speed up is not really a good speed up is not really a good option if you're going to be in editor mode a lot, because when you speed it up, it limits the speed that you can move horizontally for some reason. I don't fully understand it, but it is something I've noticed many times before. And I always get confused why I'm moving so slow until I remember everything's idling, or everything's not idling, boosted. Okay, this can go... This can't get us enough, actually. This needs to go... Wait, can it plant on yellow? How does that work again? I think green is the stuff it can currently plant on. Yellow is the stuff it can plant on with upgrades. If you have the advanced technology, right? Yeah, okay. So yellow is what you can craft on later or build on later. So that means... Oh, this is a good spot. No, that's a good spot. Oh, we're in the wrong menu, but other than that, it's good. So we got landfill. I think this patch is probably enough. I imagine I'll do 2 just to be safe. So that would also include this one. And then we should be good. Okay, and then... Yeah, maybe if we lower it 1. Honestly, the exact position doesn't matter. The whole point of this is that the exact position doesn't matter. So let's not make it matter more. Now, I don't know how much landfill I need. I think we'll produce most of the landfill locally on this planet. Because it doesn't look like we need a lot. It looks like we only need about, I don't know, 100? It's hard to say. Although 100 is a lot to produce locally, so maybe that is a bit much. 50, though, wouldn't be too bad. Because the thing is, we only have really, really bad stone patches, and it will take us a bit to get power up and running, and we kind of need the landfill before that. What does landfill ship? What does it ship with? What's its density? Am I really considering launching like 5 rockets of landfill? I think I might be. Okay, it stacks to 100. It would take 5 rockets. Stone, I don't think, is any more efficient, or at least not significantly more efficient. No, it's actually worse. So if we're going to ship landfill, we need to ship landfill. I don't know, is that a bad idea? It doesn't sound like a bad idea. 5 rockets, I don't think, is too bad as our second ship. We should be okay. If we go to novice, we need landfill production. I think we just kind of have it producing like this the whole run. How fast does this produce? That's the real question. This would do 1 landfill every 25 seconds, right? Because it's 50 landfill and we're producing 2-ish per second. We'll probably have productivity bonus, so maybe we'll say 2.2, 2.4 per second. Both very reasonable, so that's 20 seconds per landfill. That's 3 per minute. We need 100. So we need like half an hour of production. That's not bad, actually. That will all produce while we're on honestly, as long as we set this up before space science, we can do with like one drill and it should be fine. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be speed limited here at all. Okay, so that's how we'll get all of the gleba junk. Okay, so starter 1, hello. Why am I over there? I don't know why I'm over there. Okay, so landfill. Let's bring 100. Now, worst case scenario, we can always just craft more on gleba. That's not inherently a problem. Okay, and then we need... Actually, let's make a blueprint. I'll get a screenshot of this. That would simplify things. The blueprint definitely helps when editing. What the heck? There we go. Why? Windows snipping tool is not happy with me right now. Okay. Yeah, we don't need the blueprint. Okay, so this is what we need to bring. It says 3 chests and 2 infinity chests, which makes me think I need 2 actual chests instead. So let's do 5 chests. There's no reason for us to ship chests, but I might ship a chest. It seems a lot easier at least. And I'm assuming we need to store it. I don't actually have a storage chest on this planet. We definitely need one of those. And then we need to decide how many bots and Logibots we're going to bring. I think 50 of each is probably fine. That's just 1 rocket of each. We could definitely work with that. I don't think it would take that long. But yeah, let's start. Let's see, we need about 600 transport belts. That gives us some leeway. We don't use red belt at all. I think it would increase our production a little bit, but it's not a ton. This is the bare minimum. We'll probably bring more than that. I'm actually going to do them in order, though, of how I have them set up. So this is the bare minimum, assuming it goes on that exact spot. So realistically, I'll probably need 100. So I'm just going to say 100. I think I'm going to round most of these. Except maybe inserters. Inserters probably wouldn't be worth rounding. Do I want to do... What do I want for power poles? Honestly, I should just use small electric poles, right? What do those stack to in the silo? They stack to 50. We can make do with entirely small electric poles. I don't have an idea of how many it takes to go to the other side, though. Hold on. Okay, we're at 50 now. Okay, that uses about 30. So we would actually need 2 So unless we bring big electric poles, we would need 2 stacks of solar power, or 2 stacks of regular power poles. But if we're bringing big power poles, that's also an extra launch. So let's just say 100. Yeah, let's just say 100. Because we need about 55. Looks like we have efficiency modules. We have a mix of all the modules, actually, which is kind of nice. But yeah, modules are another thing where you can realistically just bring too many and it's fine. Or just craft them as needed if you want to. But we don't have a ton of travel time to really craft things on the fly. Like, it's something that can be done. I don't think we're going to be super limited by that this run to worry about. Maybe in farther practices or future practices. Once we start actually, doing runs and not just, or start refining a bit. Because I do want to do it again. I want to do more than 1 run. It's just this first one is going to be not super, we're not going to stress over the first one too much. Okay, for some reason I have 5 chests. I'm going to request them, but I don't know why. I mean, we could just craft... Yeah, we can just craft these out of the iron, though, up here. That should be very simple. Oh, and then we need a cargo bay. We need a cargo bay on all of these. Actually, can I make a cargo bay in this guy? What does that cost? Okay, well, it's fewer launches to ship a cargo landing pad, though, than it is to ship the parts for it. So there's really no reason for us to do that. But technically, if I really wanted to, I could just ship... I could just craft this with the remaining concrete I have, but that's literally just adding 2 launches. Well, it's adding 1 launch, maybe 2 launches, most likely 2. Which just doesn't seem worth it. So we'll request that. Silo, we obviously need to craft up here, but we can't even put it in their quest list to let me know. Heating tower we produce locally, so we're gonna put that at the end. Because things we need to bring are definitely different. Offshore pumps, I think we craft those on the way, but we'll request one either way. A turbine, heat exchanger. Okay, so this stuff we all need. I hope we can produce these fast enough for a kilo, because we actually need a lot of these for a kilo, and we don't have a ton of production. Although I think I expanded it, but I don't know if I expanded it enough. Then for some reason I need a combinator. I don't need a combinator, actually. That's just telling me... Yeah, the combinator there is just telling me I think it just reminded me that I might need something later. I'm not entirely sure. But it didn't seem that useful. Is there any reason for me to have more than one roboport on this planet? I don't think there is. Like, technically it means I can do repairs locally if I need, but I don't think we need to be able to, or sorry, not locally, remotely. I don't think we need to do that though. I can't imagine that's going to be a problem in an 8%. It might be a good idea though, just in case. It would take, yeah, I guess for the first run we should probably have the backup plan, huh? Okay, so we'd have a roboport, 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 roboport. Okay, so it would take 4 additional roboports. That's not bad at all. That's still less than one. That's still less than one launch. Also, can you put a roboport in space? I know it doesn't do anything in space, but can you place one in space? I haven't tried. I'm assuming it's going to tell me pressure is too low. Yep. That is that is what it tends to say for things that have no reason being in space. But yeah, we'll bring 5. That lets us connect everything, so if we mess up or forget something, we can still try to fix it remotely. Although I don't think it'll work that well. And then let's bring like 50 lodge bots, 50 construction bots. That should be totally fine. Okay, and then for the stuff that we build on the planet would be biochambers 16, ag towers 20, no, 3. 3 ag towers. And then 1 heating tower. Actually, wait. We can produce heating towers on Novice, right? But we can't produce them until after we are on Gleba. What are they unlocked by? They're unlocked by just mining copper on this planet. Okay. So yeah, we'll just produce these. We don't have everything we need. We'll have the concrete. We'll have the resources for boilers because we'll have iron. We need 5 heat pipe. What does 5 heat pipe cost? Oh wow, it requires 100 copper plates. Okay. Should I just ship up the heat pipe though? I mean, that's definitely easier. Yeah, let's just ship everything. We need 5 heat pipe and we need 2 boilers. And there we go. That way we can handcraft it once we get there. Because I think just the micro of doing the heat pipe is not worth it, considering we will have heat pipe fully automated by now. If we really wanted to, I could put like 5 heat pipe into a rocket silo manually. But we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being worth it. Okay, so that should be everything we need for Gleba. Oh right, ag towers and biochambers. We need a sum of what they cost. So let's see, what do they cost actually? The first one I think has to be built by hand. Or does it have to be produced? Okay, we can handcraft it. Yeah, okay, so it looks like we can handcraft that. So that requires nutrients, electronic circuits, iron plates, landfill. We might need more landfill. Let's see. Actually, no. The ag tower needs 1. Okay, so we're bringing 100 landfill. That means we'll use 20 for these things, and then we'll have 80 left over for actually landfilling things. So that should not be a problem at all. Also, we're really fast. I did a run one time that was a 10 times speed multiplier, but everything was multiplied by 10. So like we ran really fast. and it made it really hard to build. It was kind of fun, but it turns out that you don't actually go faster when you're faster because you spend so much time. Yeah, we spend so much time just running into things. Biters we actually had off. I do want to revisit that one. I do want to revisit that at some point. Hello, you got a question about Fulgora, assuming that's not going to be a spoiler, right? Yeah, this we're designing a speedrun. We're designing a speedrun base. There's anybody who's worried about spoilers here is already going to get them. They might have. You know what? They might have been on. We've done a couple different ones where I moved really fast, so maybe it was that. Yeah, we've had two different ones where I was going really fast. One of them was doing it constantly, and one of them was just in bursts. But yeah, feel free to ask that. There's no nobody watching this specific stream right now is worried about spoilers, considering we're just jumping between all of the bases. Okay, we need to craft 12 of these. That's 300 iron. We'll say 300 iron. Okay. And then that would be 100 circuits. Those are gonna be annoying to get, but we can just ship them up. Okay. So 300 iron, which means we can probably just handcraft that if we're bringing the iron. Let's see. So in Fulgora, you have a couple of items, but it doesn't seem like you can build between the aisles. Is there a way to connect power poles at least across the aisles? Eventually, yes. Though that isn't the initially. Usually, you just do local power. Sometimes you can get lucky, and the power poles might be close enough. But you just have to plan for local power on all of the islands, because the only thing you can really connect them with by default is rails, and there's no way to transport power over rails. You can personally confirm that yes, you can craft and build heating towers on Novice and Fulgora, and yes, it's really a nice thing. It is. It is a very nice thing. That helps a lot with power on Fulgora if you can make heating towers. Now there is, I guess, you can't directly ship power by a rail, but what you could do, I guess one option is to ship water and to ship fuel. So that way you could have a more dense power system than like an accumulator. Oh, your idea is to just use them on an unimportant isle? Yeah, they probably wanted you to avoid that. Just infinitely making level 1 accumulators. Because that would be pretty effective. But yeah, they want you to not do that. Yeah, solar itself is really, really bad. Is it like, it's like 1% efficiency, right? I know it's 20 in the atmosphere. You're set up on the small island, kind of dumb, but it has the mineable scrap. Yeah, the small islands are nice. Oh, it's 10%? Okay, that's not too bad. But yeah, having a small base on a small island is a great way to get started. Especially since the scrap density on those is basically never going to run out, because it tends to be in like the millions, right? Yeah, steam power is an option. Eventually, heat towers are a slightly more efficient option. But yeah, moving somewhere, just capturing a ton of islands for more room is probably the way to go at long term. Yeah, steam tower plus lightning rods. Yeah, right. That's the strat. Just do the mix of them so you reduce fuel consumption, but have the power to make it through the night when you run out, like I normally do. Yeah, you probably haven't reached that. So yeah, I guess at your point, you'll probably just have to do everything on a larger island. You could shuttle it. I don't know how long it would keep you going, but you can shuttle things back and forth manually for a while. Like just shuttle the high tier goods is always a possibility. Depends how active you want to be. You'll be the logistic bot basically, or the train. I needed I said 100. Let's say 100. Yeah, let's say 100. Okay, and then we're rounding things up to like the nearest 100 for these because they don't need to be that specific. Okay, so that's all we need for the biochambers. Those are a lot cheaper than I thought. Okay, and then how much do the ag towers cost? 10 steel, 3 electronic circuits. So basically we could say nothing. I'm going to write... Is 5 enough? Yeah, okay. 100 circuits is still enough. So I'm just going to say 100 steel. No, 50 steel? Yeah, I'm just going to say 50 steel here. No, 100. Just as a reminder. Even though we already have it from something else. Do bots survive the lightning? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they don't. You might be able to get lucky, or you can just replace the bots, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you just lose them. They can take like one hit. Like one hit and they die, or like one hit and then they're good, and then they die on the next one. Second lightning kills a bit. Okay. Yeah, that's... Okay, well that's... Honestly, that's more than I expected. Although you probably get hit so close together that it doesn't matter. I think for mine, I just built on the big island that had a couple patches and stayed with that for a while. It's a really bad patch, but it was enough to keep me... It was enough to keep me going. It wasn't enough to last like long term, but it let me figure out how the planet worked before everything got a little, before things started dying. Also, I can do more solar if I really need, but I think with the accumulators we're fine. Okay, is that everything we really need on Gleba? Like, I know it's a lot of different things, but it's actually not a lot of entities overall. Is there anything that I'm just missing? We have a bunch of chests. I don't think I added providers, actually. No, I did. Okay. We'll probably just bring a bunch of these. I wonder if you can add something... I know you can, like... You can put stuff in here, right? Oh, let's see, what do we have? We have an accumulator. Yeah, you can do that. You have to be careful that it doesn't go on the belt, but you can just kind of throw stuff in the collectors if you really want to. Let's see, you made the mistake of putting lasers on a couple ships and they ran out of power too fast, so it stopped loading bullets. Oof. You had to circuit lasers to only work when power was 20%. Oh, okay, so you kept them in general. I think lasers are really cool. But yeah, they, our fix was to just delete them. We barely made it to our first planet. I think we went to Volcanus first, and we were very close to losing everything. But we didn't fully lose it, and that's what matters. We made it out. But yeah, it was close. But we had to cut the lasers almost immediately because we would have died. Oh, where's the snipping tool? There we go. For you, not for asteroids. True. Look, if you get enough, theoretically, if you played the game long enough, you can make it that you could destroy an asteroid with 1 kilowatt. I don't think that is gonna happen before you die in real life of just old age, but theoretically it might work. Unless something has 100% reduction, but I think it's all just like 99, right? Yeah, bullet damage helps a lot. I'm really curious if you can actually get enough laser damage for it to be viable. Probably at some point, but it gets to the millions pretty fast before you've even gone like before you even have like a 20 times boost. It's already at a million, so maybe it's a few lifetimes away. Your children will have good lasers. Okay, so Volcanus needs a lot of belts. There's a good chance we can produce a lot of this on Volcanus, though. Pipes, we definitely can't. Solar or speed modules, there's absolutely no reason to produce them on this planet. Same with... Why do I use prod modules? I should probably check this out. I don't know why we're using prod modules. But yeah, this is 8 rockets worth of transport belts. It's like those 100-year mortgages in Tokyo. It's 100 years later. Do they have 100-year mortgages? Wow. Some streamers are using railgun rocket laser chips for Promethium. They must have gotten a lot of laser damage upgrades and fusion power. Oh, that's true. Fusion power definitely helps. Once power is just straight up free, you might as well have the lasers running. Oh, wait, so they're not even... Oh, so they're not even using gun turrets in that case. It's insane, like the kids and grandkids are legally tied to the mortgage. Yeah, that's surprising. That's definitely that's a really long mortgage. There's an idle game I play a lot, and there's one question that comes up a lot of like if there's two like challenges you can play at once that synergize on each other. And if you do both of them at once, you get to a point where like you could theoretically be playing for like a few hundred years and not complete it if you don't have the right stuff. And it's just the same vibe. It's like, oh yeah, you'll pass it down to your children and they will complete the game for you. It's perfect. We need more things to pass down. You know, like it used to be like high quality chairs or like, oh, this was my great granddad's like chef's knife. Nah, this is my idle game file, or this is my Factorio world. It'll be perfect. The next generation of traditions will be awesome. Or sorry, not traditions. What's heritage artifacts? What are those called? Is there like a term for that? Heirlooms, thank you. I'm like, I knew heir, and I cannot think of the rest of the word. We don't really have anything like that in our family that was like passed down, so I don't think of the word much. But I know some people do. Cookie Clicker is like that as well. There are far worse games though. Yeah, Cookie Clicker has just a huge time all towards the end. Very, very big time all from what I've heard. Adventure Capitalists as well had one. I play Kitten's game a lot, which is pretty fun. It doesn't have those significant time walls unless you're doing like your own personal challenge. But if that's the case, you can't really blame the game. At least it doesn't have anything like... It might have things in like the hours, but it doesn't have anything in the years. Okay, so why do we have so many turbines? Oh, right, because this gets steam directly from the sulfuric acid. Okay, so we do want to ship big electric poles onto this planet, which makes sense. Why am I bringing... There's no reason for me to bring these. It's like in the end, you need like a bazillion ascension points to finish the game. Isn't there also like... I don't know if it's like a paid currency, but there's like... What's effectively would be an equivalent to a premium currency that I've heard is like very time-wally. I don't know if that might be the ascension points. I'm not sure. Honestly, the last time I played it myself, it didn't have... I don't even think it had a reset mechanic. I'm pretty sure... did it originally have reset? I don't think it had ascension points, did it? Yeah, no, I know it doesn't have like a premium currency. It's just like the same... That like next tier up of like... You can... the type of resource it is feels very premium currency from the way I hear it described, except it's just a time wall instead. But like not actually a premium currency, it gave me the same vibe. If that's a better way to phrase it. Not actually pay to win. Just it had that vibe of it, but there is no way to pay to get past it, which it might be worse. That might be worse. You can't pay to win. Instead you just lose. Everyone loses. You played Idle Champion to rule the god. Is that Idle Champion to rule the gods? I can never get into those like skill-based ones. Also, what planet am I looking for? Why do I have wooden power poles? And can I remove them? Yeah, there's no reason for me to bring them. We're just gonna bring a stack of substations. This is silly. Skill. Well, I mean like I don't mean skill as in like require skill to play. I mean like isn't that one of those games where like your player has like a running skill or like an attacking skill and you just get that number up really high, or am I thinking of a different game? Like that's what I mean by skilling. That which are basically just like RuneScape simulators. Those types of games. Is that one? Okay. Yeah, those ones I can never get into. I like the idea of skills going up in number wise. But I think if I have a game where I want to get a bunch of skills up, I want to actually do the skill, not just like watch the number. Because I used to love RuneScape. And I love like raising skills and just like WoW or like farming sims. Also, is that all of the power poles? I think that's all the power poles. Okay, that should be a little bit nicer. Okay, so we need about 20 and 10, so that's actually not bad at all. So I'll say 25 and 25, so that way we have some extra. That's the wrong kind of machine though, but other than that, it's good. There's one that seems pretty decent called Melvor Idol, which I'm pretty sure is just straight up based off of RuneScape. Like, I think they just based it off of RuneScape. Big electric drills we make here. What else do we need? Solar panels. We need like 10 of them. Oh, wait, we need solar panels on all the planets. What am I doing? We'll just do like 10 on each. That number doesn't matter. We just need 10 to get started. But yeah, there's one called Melvor Idol, which is very heavily skill-based. And I'm pretty sure that the graphics and names of things are just references to RuneScape. At least I thought I saw that in the description. But it seems gonna be cool, but it's one of those games that doesn't run well on your phone. Like, it uses a lot of... It uses a lot of processing power, and I have a very strong aversion to idle games which make my phone warm. Like, if your game drains my battery faster than, like, playing a game with graphics, then I'm most likely just not going to play it. Because I use my phone for phone purposes. I don't want it to die playing like a text-based game. And it is surprisingly common. Like that's a very big issue in a lot of mobile idle games. Why do I have yellow? Why do I have yellow assemblers on, or yellow inserters here? Okay. I just forgot that's it. Yeah, it's again, there's no reason to bring yellow. We should just bring extra blue. Because the savings of like 5 iron by the time we're at the space age is basically meaningless. This is Gleba, so I changed the wrong one. So this should be 24. We're probably just going to bring whole stacks, but having these numbers here gives me a more accurate idea of how much I should round. See, mobile frameworks are garbage today. They're pretty much just a wrapper of some JavaScript engine. See, that can be fine. Like, the game I play the most is just JavaScript in like a phone. And it doesn't, like, I can leave my phone open for hours and my phone doesn't increase in temperature at all. Like, it's fine. It doesn't drain my battery at all. It's really fun. So when I play a game that's even like that looks less demanding and it makes my phone warm after like 30 seconds, just nope. I'm done. But yeah, that does seem to be common. I don't know if that's inherently a problem. Like, is there any bad downside to that? Probably. I just don't know. I don't really know what the disadvantage would be. Or like what, I guess more, I don't know what the alternatives would be. Just like natively writing something for the game? Is that something you can just do? Do I need any tanks here? I don't think so. We'll bring 10 roboports though. Oh, we need gun turrets. We need gun turrets. Forgot about that. And then we only need one of these. It takes time and skills. Okay, so the advantage would be it's easier to just use like a JavaScript thing, especially if you already have a web version of it. I imagine that's easier, or really easy. Okay, so we need gun turrets. You know, we don't actually have to bring the ammo down though, but I think one stack of gun turrets should be fine. Oh, you know what? We need 8 gun turrets for our main ship. We can just use the remaining 42 that ship up in the rocket and use it for the demolisher. Because what I'm thinking is we make a wall of gun turrets, we make a stack of poison capsules. The poison capsules plus the gun turret should drop its health pretty fast. And then, I don't know, a couple hundred ammo? Because most of the damage is going to come from the poison capsules. So I don't really know how many we realistically need. Although there's also some merit to saying, like, just bringing one gun turret and, like, one bullet. Just enough to make it that it aggroes towards the gun turret. So then that way we can toss more poison capsules on it. Then we don't need a wall of turrets. But we'll need I think we'll practice on Tuesday to figure out how we're going to defeat the Demolisher. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not great at fighting the Demolishers yet. Okay, we need 7 foundries. We needed 10 big drills. Wait, are they called big drills? Oh my god, they're actually called big drills. Okay. I'm always unsure about like the adjectives in this game. Like I'm never convinced that these are actually called small electric poles and like medium poles. But that is actually their name. I still think they should be called wooden poles, but you know, that's fine. I feel like that's just, you know, that's their main distinguisher. Okay, so now we need a value for how much we need for this. Okay, so let's go to Volcanus. Let's assume no productivity bonus, right? No, let's not assume that. Okay, so we have 1 handcrafted, and then we need 8, so that is, or we need 7, so that means we craft 5, we craft 5, we get 7. Okay, so we need enough for 5. Which would be 20 refined concrete. Oh wait, how do I get refined concrete? I forget that recipe. That's, I guess. Oh wait, sorry, 6. We need 6. So that's 300 steel, 180 circuits, and then 120 refined concrete. Then the other stuff we get down here. Oh, we need lube. How do I want to get lube? We can make it here, or we can just... I mean, we need to bring 20. Well, actually, do we need to bring 20? Strictly speaking, we don't. Yeah, I don't, actually. I can just make it here. Because you don't need... Yeah, obviously, like, you can make everything without bringing anything. So yeah, you can get lube before you need anything else. Yeah, let's do that. Because I was thinking of bringing a lube barrel, but it should be fine to just do that. You think you liquefy coal? Yeah. Yeah, we liquefy coal into heavy oil. I couldn't remember what the processing chain was. For some reason, I was thinking a foundry was involved. But yeah, if we just liquefy coal... Which, I know that the word isn't liquefaction, but I prefer liquefaction. And just we're liquefying it. But I feel like it means something completely different. Right? Or I guess it could just be I mean, it could still be like referring to it turning into a liquid. But it doesn't. I guess it makes liquids. It also makes gases, though. That's why That's why the term feels weird to me. But it probably does just mean to liquefy. But yeah, we'll liquefy the coal. And then out from the coal, we get lube, and then we get the foundries. Okay, so we just need to bring... we don't need to bring carbon. Wait, do we need to bring carbon? No, we can't really bring carbon, or we shouldn't. That would be silly. You know, ooh, wait, we can get... Oh, wait, no, I thought about this already. I was thinking of using the carbon fiber from this planet on Gleba to get us the carbon fiber. But the downside of doing that is it just gets us the carbon fiber really, really late. And there's just no reason to do that. Okay, so we need... Actually, let's get the big mining drill values too. So for big mining drills, we need 10, so that means we need to craft 7. Okay, so we need 7 electric drills. 70 circuits, 70 engines. We're just gonna round those all to 100. Starter 1, we have... Okay, I said 300 steel. 200 circuits. Technically it's just 180, but that should be fine. Refined concrete. We'll figure this out. But I think we just make this locally. We'll say 200 of that. Let's see, you've played some idle games where the devs didn't understand exponential scaling and didn't really give you the tools to finish. They had to patch it. That's pretty common. That seems pretty common. I see a lot of exponential stuff with like live patches when it's either incredibly broken or it reaches like a stopping point really quickly. Like there was one like magic based game I saw, I cannot remember the name, but it was like some very like early access magic based one, and after like playing for like 30 minutes I got like an infinite loop on it and it was immediately patched. Because, you know, they just weren't thinking that like, oh, if you just keep boosting it by 10% forever, it gets to infinity very, very quickly. We need 10 drills. So you finally got your wooden power pole built. Nice. What's this for? What would you be wooden power pole limited for? I don't remember the context of that. I guess drills we'll just say we need we'll say we need 35 then. Oh, quality power poles, right. If you make quality wooden power poles are almost as good as a substation, right? Actually, are they as good as a substation? I think they're as good as a vanilla substation, which is just a very fun concept. Idle games are why you know some really insane metric prefixes like peta or exa. They are good for that, huh? Or like Yoda. I wish it was, or Yoda. We can call it Yoda bytes. Although that one's not that large, I don't think. Is it? I don't know how many zeros it is. I'm familiar with them, but I can never think of the order. No, wait, Yottabyte's huge. That would be steel power poles. Wait, what would be steel power poles? Oh, I was just thinking, like, if you have a legendary wooden power pole, it's almost as good as a substation. But, oh, I guess it's not. I thought substations were smaller. So, yeah, it would be mediums. Do these get a larger supply area? Oh, actually, big electric poles seem really useful. Like, getting a big electric pole to a 14 by 14 is massive. Because you could use almost exclusively those. My favorite trope in idle games is when they actually... trope might be the wrong word. I like when they let you use engineering notation. Because personally, I think engineering notation is the best option for a lot of things. In idle games. Like, obviously, it depends on, like, personal preference. But for me, I like engineering notation a lot. It makes it a lot easier to figure out scale compared to, like, scientific. Because, like, I don't know, 5e to the 7th versus, like, 4e to the 7th. I know it, or 4e to the 8th. I know the other one's, like, 10 times bigger. But I like to use engineering notation to like know how much I'm spending on something, if that makes sense. Like if I have 5e to the 3 of something, or 5e to the 6, and an upgrade is 2e to the 3, I know that's basically not going to affect my values at all. But if it was instead like to the 5th or something, the magnitude difference isn't large enough for me to know, like, oh, this is pocket change with scientific quite as easily. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference overall, but it definitely has an effect. What am I forgetting to ship? I feel like I'm forgetting something. And I can't really check the recipe that easily without just going back to Volcanus. Circuits, that's what I'm forgetting. We need 100 circuits. That's about it, though. That's all we're missing. Let's see. There are rare quality wooden poles that can reach inserters on the other side of assembler. Those are nice. Honestly, that sounds like the sweet spot. Being able to reach the other side of assembler. Or uncommon steel ones, but those take 3 ingredients rather than 2. Also, I imagine infinite wood is a lot easier to get. Because that's just, I think, free on Novice with 0 effort, right? Like, you don't need nutrients or anything, you just get free power poles, free wood, as long as you get the power to craft them in the first place. Not that anything in Space Age is what I would describe as expensive. Most things are fairly free, but some things are more free. And there aren't that many things that are fully free on Novice, even if they become, like, dirt cheap, they're never, like, free there. Except for, I guess, eggs, maybe? Eggs are kind of produced in 2 spots. Except you haven't visited Gleba? Oh, so you're just making them out of, like, scrapping and recycling trees? That works too. Okay, I think that's good. I'm actually going to put a note that I want lube, even though we don't have lube barrels. Oh, I actually can't leave notes here because it's going to try to request it, and if it doesn't leave, it won't leave the planet. Never mind, that would be silly. Yeah, that's a decent amount of wood. But if you're going for like a legendary, I feel like you would be scrapping a lot of that really quickly. Also, this is a planet that is... I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this planet. Let's put it that way. I don't know what we need to bring to this planet at all. Because, like, on the one hand, bringing stuff lets us build it faster. Obviously. On the other hand, everything here is incredibly easy to make really fast. Also, there's still a yellow inserter somewhere. I don't know where, though. But it says there's a yellow inserter in here. Okay. But yeah, everything here that we need is pretty much easy to produce just on this planet without much effort. However, bringing it kickstarts it so much faster. You have a solar-powered tree farm with an upcycler, works good, but really slow. Yeah, once you get a tree farm, it seems like even slow seems good enough. Let's see, at 10% quality, you need about 500 wood per power pole. That's yeah, I guess that's where 70k becomes very, very limiting pretty quickly. Okay, I think drills, there'd be no reason for us to bring drills, right? That would be silly. Also, I don't know if it's a dumb question. If I'm requesting something here, then requesting something here, does it add them or does it take the minimum? Like, is this going to request 200 landfill or is it going to request 100? Because I've never actually split them like this before. Okay, it does request... Okay, so it adds them. That's totally fine, then. That just means we have to... Yeah, that just means we have to be careful to disable them when we're done with it. But yeah, we can work with adding. You're not even thinking of the quality stuff until you get the mech suit. That's very fair. I was avoiding the quality stuff for a while, and then I decided to spend like a couple streams working on it. I got like nothing done. Why do I have yellow belt? Why do I have yellow belt? What the heck? There's no reason for us to bring yellow belt, right? I guess... If we need 2 stacks anyway, they might as well be 2 separate ones. Kind of annoying behavior. I think it makes sense in some way. Like if you're doing constant combinators, which are basically the same as this, it makes sense for them to be added. Or if you're like trying to get the stuff for like if you're trying to get the stuff for 3 separate planets at once and you just have them filtered, you obviously want all 3 of them at once added together. So if I always need to bring 50 efficiency modules to Fulgora, Gleba, and Volcanus, I would want it to be 150. So I see why they're added. But it just means you have to be careful to turn them off. Let's see, you just looked, you've gotten about 500 legendary wood for a 1.8 million regular. Well, that's still, what is that, 1,000 legendary power poles? That's not too shabby. Now, this is only enough stuff for one segment. Now, we need to decide how many we want. I think 2 of them. Okay, so since this is our first planet, and we want to produce everything we need over the course of 2 hours, we're producing 0.2 per second. That's 4 hours. So we need at least 2. So we actually need to double all of these. Yeah, we need to double all these. Efficiency modules are dirt cheap to produce on Fulgora. But they're also just dirt cheap to get on Fulgora. Do you think substations are cheaper than a legendary power pole? Oh, 100%. It's like a fun thought to use them as a legend, effectively use them as a substation. But I can't imagine it's more efficient. So to increase efficiency, instead of scrapping to wood, you turn the wood into chests and then scrap into wood. Yeah, getting like that extra cycle definitely helps. Because you're just getting twice as many recycling rolls for free, right? Or not, I guess it wouldn't be twice, it would be 1 more. Or would it be twice? I guess since you're redoing it repeatedly, it might just be double. That's true. That is true. The 1-to-1 footprint actually could make a pretty big difference to be worth being a little smaller. Or being pricier, because that's nice. Although in that case, medium electric pole. Actually, medium electric pole legendary seems expensive. Does anybody know where... Oh, wait, we don't need to bring any accumulators. That's silly. We need to bring a little bit of... We don't need any solar power ever on this planet. Right, because we have the lightning rods. We need 50 piped grounds. Actually, this is an underestimate. Let's do 100. Yeah, let's do 100 of those, because that depends how close the oil is, which might change. Okay, and then we need 30 drills. Let's do 50 drills. So right now we're planning for 2 of these, which should be about 0.4. I want to say we sustainably produce 0.2 science per second from these. Because this doesn't run full speed, but definitely runs close. And I think that number is 0.2. It's hard to say because I tested it like 3 times and each time I got a different number because I kept making something wrong. Like there was one point where I was scrapping all of the water and I was wondering why it was limited by power. And it's because I was scrapping, not all, I was scrapping 70% of the ice, which is bad. Let's see, maybe a legendary teeth roll D3 pole that is specialized for long distance might have enough range. I don't think so. It depends on the island. If you aren't able to bridge the gap with a roboport, then you're not able to bridge it with power. Because a legendary power pole isn't longer than a roboport connection. So you can always just check that, or just like check over map view. But I don't think that's usually not enough. Sometimes you'll get lucky. Like I think in this case we would be able to connect power. But we also have our map generation changed to allow for closer, bigger islands. In my not vanilla world, but in my casual playthrough, there weren't any islands near me that I could bridge with power. But it just depends on RNG at that point. But yeah, if it's like 10 tiles away or something, you might be able to push that. Let's see, with the extra crafting step, the quality presented increases to about 19. Okay, yeah, that's pretty big. that is almost double then. Okay, so we have 50 drills. I'm gonna say 25 inserters. I don't know why we need prod 2s, but apparently I need 20 of these. I'm still not sure if I'm going to ship some of these or not. We need 20 substations. Those are an exact number. I know we can produce a lot of this here. I don't see any reason to set up a mall when it's so easy to build this. We need a lot of chests. I'm actually just going to say like 50 chests so we can have extra. Lightning collectors we build on here. Chemical plants we ship. Let's say 8 chemical plants. If you calculate it, you basically consider the chance to not have a boost in quality. Yeah, you multiply like the inverse together and subtract. I just wasn't sure how many steps of recycling there were. That's why I wasn't sure if it was double or just one extra. You missed 2 achievements because you didn't read the list before you started. There's one to get the first spider spawn kill with artillery. Seems tricky. And there's one for not using Logia Science until you get to the other planet Science. Unfortunately, or wait. Actually, that's not too bad. Did you get the one that... Does that mean you got the one that said to research with this another science first? What's it called? Rush to Space. Okay, so you're good then. So yeah, getting Rush to Space and the artillery one at the same time are very annoying. But if you already have that one, the artillery one's not too bad. Just because I feel like purple and yellow science help a lot with defenses. Because you just get, well, you get Logia Network, but you wouldn't be able to have that. But you get more damage upgrades and bot speed and stuff. Which helps a lot when you're defending your base against spiders because you can't push. Also important for keeping Sandy on Fulgora. Which one's good for keeping Sandy on Fulgora? Oh, Logibots? Yeah. Yeah, those are helpful. Which is why we don't have Logibots in our Fulgora at all. It's a terrible idea, but it's fun. Okay, and then this is just a regular boiler, it looks like. Which we need 6 of. We need... For some reason, I need 3 regular prod modules. That seems bizarre to me, but sure, we'll leave it with what we have. I don't know what the assemblers are for. One of them is for Holmium. I don't know what the other is. Logibot's mildly helpful on Fulgora. Just a little mildly helpful. Yeah, they're not that useful. Landing pad. Actually, we don't need a landing pad on this planet, strictly speaking. I should probably bring one. But I don't necessarily need one. What does 2E do? Does that break it? Yes, it does. Okay. And then a selector combinator we also need 2 of. And then apparently I need tanks. Tanks I might just bring. Or I might just craft there. With enough sushi and infinite time, you don't need Logibots. Exactly. Oh, elevated rails. Yeah, those are nice. For sanity. Once you get them, at least. But yeah, this is our Fulgora Logibot list right now. I mean, this is for a speedrun, so obviously we don't need to produce anything other than science and a little bit of Holmium for later. So it's not like we couldn't do quality stuff with this, but this is a nice sanity-friendly design, and I like it. I'm really happy with this. I was more happy with it whenever we were able to use a heating tower because I could get 0.4 out of the same amount of space due to having extra prod modules, but since we're doing Gleba second now, we can't afford heat towers on this planet. Well, I mean, we can afford it. We can't build them at all. But it basically was like, do I want twice as many... Basically, the choices are, did I want to go for a larger Fulgora or an earlier Fulgora? And I think an earlier Fulgora just sounded a lot easier. A lot easier to work with. Now, if we could ever get... I think if we ever somehow get stack size upgrades, I can't imagine we will. Yeah, no, we're not spending I mean, actually, we could spend 1,000 space science for it. This would help Fulgora run a little bit better. Not a ton, but it would saturate the belt better. Honestly, I don't really know. We're just kind of winging it. I just want it to be something I can do in a single stream. Wait, they're an issue for Fulgora builds? Do they cause problems? I would think they would only help. I guess if you're doing quality upgrades in here, it's annoying. Did I research it on accident? I did. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. This shouldn't be stacked. Yeah, it outputs stacked. But does that break things? Like, I don't see how that would be an issue, is what I mean. His issue implies you don't want it, and it's not a good thing. I'm failing to see how it's not. It did on a base of ours. Interesting. I always feel like, for mine, it just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. It threw the count off on him. Oh, yeah, okay. If you're using, like, a counter, something, I can see the problem. Yeah, thanks for the luck. We'll need it. I'll probably be wrapping up soon here. I have some stuff going on this weekend, so I haven't been able to do longer than like a 2-hour stream. And then there won't be any stream tomorrow. Monday we'll be back with the no inventory run. Tuesday we'll either be doing any percent practice or we'll just do more no inventory because I kind of want to finish that one up, and I think we can finish it up Tuesday if we do it 2 days in a row. Although we're barely at blue science, so that might be ambitious. I don't know. It gets easier, but it's hard to say. We spent most of our time last time making our base safe. So now that it's safe, I think we'll be able to expand a lot better, a lot quicker, at least. You'll have to say the Fulgora scrap processing MVP is the non-blocking filter splitter. The non-blocking filter splitter. What's that? Three splitters and a special arrangement. Okay. I don't know what this is, but it does sound effective. Non-blocking filter splitter does sound very nice. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for our designs today. Like I said, weird or busy week with family stuff, so shorter streams. I'll be back Monday with the no inventory run, and then Tuesday we'll double check to make sure our spaceships are good. Maybe we'll craft a couple stages of them, so that way I have a reference blueprint. I know we can't import the blueprint, but I can look at it through another instance. Because I'll probably have, during the run, I'll probably have one run that I'm recording, and then I'll have the save on another file, which you can't do in default settings. Just heads up to anyone who's wondering. I mean, you can look at a reference file in 100% or default settings. You can't pull up the seed that you're currently running though. But for any percent, it's not a problem. So you can just have a reference of the factory if you have a separate instance of Factorio open. So that's good to run with. It's either that or I just take screenshots of it, because obviously this is too much to memorize by next Sunday. that's not happening. But having a reference of it will be nice. It will also allow us to like check to see how much we want to bring into each planet. So that should be relatively straightforward. So we'll work on doing the finishing touches next week. Hope you'll have a wonderful evening. Peace. Oh wait, let's see. If the diverging belt is the priority splitter, lets the resource pass into the merger. Basically, one filter splitter, then priority splitter, then a merger. Where does the empty half go? That's the part that I'm confused about. Because if you have 3, that means there's going to be an open end somewhere, right? Do you just have that like recycle around? Yeah, I can't picture it. But that's it for me today. I really do have to get going. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Peace.